What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to another weekly update. I am so sorry that this one is late yet again. I've actually been really busy the past couple days, and also been taking time to enjoy the Destiny April update and stuff like that. But putting it out now. I promise the next one will not be late. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. So, few things I wanted to talk about this week. Really nothing channel related. I mean, everything's kind of still supposed to be going the same way. I mean, I know I've been missing Pokemon a little bit here and there, but gosh dang, that game is not easy for me to sit down and record. I'll say that much. It is a chore. Don't get me wrong, I am enjoying the Let's Play, but it is super hard to get motivated to record that game. Like, I know that sounds silly and lazy, but it just is. It's like I sit down, and in fact, honestly, it was a lot easier with when I was doing the rotation of once every 3 days, because I could, my other two games I could record way ahead, and then Pokemon I could kind of record as it comes, but instead of having to get those three videos out 3 days in a row, I could get them all out in a span of 9 days, so I had a lot more time to sit on it until the next recording session and stuff like that. So I think I might actually end up switching to that. I think that's the only thing I really have to talk about, though. But other than that, so Tuesday was kind of a big day for gamers, myself included. So Destiny had a big update. Division had a big update. Dark Souls 3 came out. Ratchet and Clank came out. I think the Fallout 4 DLC came out as well. Or was it, maybe it was just a big update. I think the DLC actually came out before that. I don't know. I think? No, I think the DLC came out before. It was something else. But yeah, there was a lot that happened. And also the Battleborn beta is still going on this week. It's crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. So, games that I wanted to talk about regarding all of those were, I don't want to talk about Destiny, actually. I'm not going to talk about Destiny in this video. I'm actually saving a separate video for my little review on the April update, plus the other videos I've uploaded. But I wanted to talk about Ratchet and Clank, Dark Souls. I'm going to avoid the Division because no one ever wants to hear me talk about that, because I never have anything good to say about that game. But yes, I kind of want to talk about Ratchet and Clank and Dark Souls. So Ratchet and Clank is actually a game I'm really looking forward to getting. I did not grow up with those games. PlayStation 2 is a part of my childhood, but only barely. So from the ages of like 5, I didn't really have video games before that, at all. Like, at all. I maybe played like one or two Game Boy Color games, like Tetris. But until I was like 5 or 6 years old, I never had played video games. And then from there until I was 12, I think I was solely living on Nintendo 64, and right towards the end GameCube. That's really all I had. When I was No, actually I was 13 and I finally got a PlayStation 2. I actually bought my own. It was the first ever console I bought for myself. I got myself a PlayStation 2. And that was actually right, I think that was like a year before the PlayStation 3 actually launched. So I was actually kind of a little bit behind. I wasn't, into it when all of the PlayStation 2 games were getting big and stuff like that. So, the only games I really had was like Star Wars Battlefront, and I had a couple Medal of Honor games. I had Midnight Club, some of the staples on my channel, because those were, really the only games I had. Thus, I played them a ton. And I thought I was cool because I was playing the PlayStation 2. Oh, Maggie, I'm not the Nintendo kid shit. I had that phase for maybe a year. Trust me, I was not that stupid. But anyway, so Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, none of those PlayStation 2 hits were really on my radar at all. Like, none of them. Because, I was strictly on the PlayStation 2, really just involved with, like, those 6-7 games that I played a ton, almost all throughout my being a teenager, up until, I finally got my own PlayStation 3 when I was 17. And then from then on, I just, that's when I started branching out a ton. So yeah, they were never on my radar. That's not to say I haven't played a Ratchet and Clank game. I've played the first Jak and Daxter. I have played that series. I have never played a Sly Cooper game yet, which I'm a little bit ashamed of, but I'll get to it at some point. Don't worry. And then Ratchet and Clank, I have played Up Your Arsenal. I have it on the PlayStation 2. and I've only played just a little bit. Although I did enjoy it, but I was not really, it didn't really grip me that much. Seeing this new one, however, though, has me extremely excited. If nothing, if no reason other than the aesthetic, the graphics, the story of it, the way it's animated, all of that. Everything outside of the gameplay, honestly, has me super, super excited. So I am actually going to be grabbing that this weekend. So I'm super, super excited. I'm probably going to do a first impressions on it as well. So look forward to that. Because, yeah, man, I am... Have you seen the way that game looks? Holy cow, it is beautiful. So, then on to Dark Souls 3. So, I wanted to talk about, kind of my thoughts on this. Because Dark Souls has been interesting as of late. I feel like over the last 2 years, it's like... It used to be a cult classic, remember? Do you remember those days back when Demon Souls came out? The very first one in the series, and barely anyone had heard of it, but the people that did know about it were like, "Oh man, this game, man, you got to be so good at games to beat this," and blah 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 blah. And then Dark Souls kind of came out. It came out, and then it got a little bit bigger, and then Souls 2 came out, and by that point it was huge. Then Bloodborne, and now Souls 3. So basically, in that time period, it's huge. Everybody's into it now. And it's kind of gained this whole mentality of, oh, you don't have, you need to have balls to play this game and blah, blah, blah. And Dark Souls has never really gripped me, but it is a series that I respect tremendously. I don't really care for the fan base because I feel like they flaunt the game's difficulty as an excuse to be totally douchey. But that aside, the games themselves are awesome. Now, first of all, let me say, I'm actually a huge fan. I've been a huge fan of a lot of stuff that Bandai Namco's put out lately. Okay, they are growing to become one of my favorite publishers ever. Like, just so much stuff they make, I love. All right. So typically, if they have something come out, it's on my radar. Souls 3 is no exception. However, the only game in the series that I have ever played a lot of was Bloodborne. And a lot is relative. I played about 10 hours of that. So I'd say that's a lot for me. Demon Souls, I played like 3 or 4 hours. And then the other Souls games I've played almost nothing of. So Bloodborne's really the one I played the most. And I think it's probably because of the playstyle that game exudes. Dark Souls games are very much about patience, okay? The way that their combat is designed. They are very much about analyzing your opponent's moves, being, very, very careful, and then waiting for that opportune moment to strike. Bloodborne is not. Bloodborne is much more about getting in there, being aggressive, and really your only defensive maneuver is parrying. Like parrying, dodging, that's really all you do. You don't have a shield, so it's really just about, being evasive. That's it. Otherwise, you're just all on the offensive in that game. And I don't know, I think I like that more. I'm not really the biggest fan of overly defensive gameplay. I think it's probably because I'm spoiled by games like Skyrim, which are 100% offensive. So there is literally no defense mechanic. I mean, like, they try to have one in that game, but there's none. So Bloodborne grips me a lot more, and also I do kind of like its setting a little bit more. The Dark Souls games setting almost feels a little bit wasted to me because it has that medieval flair to it. And I kind of wish it was represented in another way, personally. But that aside, Bloodborne is my favorite. I love its old Gothic English setting. So Dark Souls 3, I'm not too sure about at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I have tremendous respect for it. Like I said, I think they are such cool games, and I probably will get it. I mean, I do own Dark Souls 1 and 2. I just haven't played them yet. So I probably will get Souls 3 eventually. I just don't think I'm in a hurry to play it. But to all of you out there playing it, please let me know how much fun you're having. And, enjoy it. It's an awesome game. Actually, it's one of my favorite games to watch other people play. Just because, the environments and everything about it is just so cool. I love the atmosphere. But, that's really all I had to say on that. Really not a lot to talk about in this update. I was gonna talk about the Destiny stuff because that's really all I've been playing. But honestly, I thought that was just better for another video so that you wouldn't have to listen to that here. So yes. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.